Imagine waking up one day to find out that $1 billion had been stolen from your country's central bank. What if $500 million in art was stolen from your town museum? So hide your wallet and put on your ski mask as we uncover the truth behind history's greatest heists. In 2003, $1 billion was stolen from Iraq's central bank. The man behind this audacious theft was none other than Qusay Hussein, the son of the infamous Saddam Hussein. As chaos engulfed Iraq during the US invasion, Qusay saw a golden opportunity to cash out. With the world's eyes fixed on the conflict, he orchestrated a heist of staggering proportions. Despite US forces' efforts to recover the stolen money, they only managed to recover $650 million, but the rest vanished into thin air. What happened to the missing millions? Did they fund a secret operation, or are they hidden away in some underground vault? But this billion-dollar robbery is just the tip of the iceberg. As we'll see, some criminals don't need wars to pull off mind-blowing heists. They have other tricks up their sleeves. From billion-dollar wartime loot to gardening? It might sound absurd, but in 2005, a group of criminals in Brazil proved that sometimes the best way into a bank vault isn't through the front door. How did they manage to steal $70 million using nothing more than a landscaping business as cover? Welcome to Fortaleza, Brazil, where an unassuming landscaping company was about to plant the seeds of one of history's most audacious heists. This wasn't your typical smash-and-grab job. These criminals had a different plan, one that would take them underground and straight into the heart of Banco Central. The mastermind behind this operation knew that sometimes the best way to outsmart security isn't to go over it or through it, but under it. They rented a property near the bank and set up a legitimate-looking landscaping business. It was the perfect cover for what was really going on beneath the surface. Over the course of 3 months, this group of ordinary men turned into master tunnelers. They dug an impressive 78-metre, that's about 260 feet tunnel, stretching from their rented property right up to the bank's vault. But this wasn't just any tunnel. It was a feat of engineering that would make most construction companies jealous. Picture this. A tunnel reinforced with wood and plastic, complete with electric lighting and air conditioning. These guys weren't messing around. They worked mainly on weekends and holidays, minimizing the chances of detection. Every shovelful of dirt brought them closer to their goal, and the air conditioning kept them cool under the pressure of their audacious plan. As they inched closer to the bank, the tension must have been unbearable. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and the whole operation could literally come crashing down. But these weren't your average gardeners. They had done their homework, mapping out every inch of their subterranean route with precision. Finally, after months of backbreaking work, they broke through. The weekend of the heist arrived and the group made their move. They emerged from their tunnel like moles, right into the heart of the bank's vault. And what they found must have been beyond their wildest dreams. Cash. Mountains of it. In total, they made off with approximately $70 million. By the time the bank opened on Monday morning, the thieves were long gone, leaving behind nothing but an empty vault and a lot of questions. The aftermath was a frenzy of investigation and disbelief. How could this happen? How did no one notice? The Brazilian federal police scrambled to catch up, eventually arresting several individuals connected to the crime. They even managed to recover some of the stolen money, but much of it had vanished, as if it had been swallowed up by the very earth the thieves had tunneled through. This heist wasn't just about the money. It was a wake-up call for banks worldwide. If a group of landscapers could pull off something this elaborate, what else was possible? The Banco Central heist forced financial institutions to rethink their security measures, looking not just at their walls and doors, but at the very ground beneath their feet. While banks fortified their walls and floors, they overlooked a critical weakness: their own employees. In 1987 London, one insider would help orchestrate a heist so audacious it would make the Banco Central robbery look like child's play. How much damage can a single trusted individual do from the inside? Enter Valerio Vice, an Italian criminal with a flair for the dramatic and a knack for exploiting human nature. Vice set his sights on the Knightsbridge Security Deposit Centre, a fortress-like vault in the heart of London's poshest neighbourhood. But unlike the Brazilian landscapers who spent months digging their way in, Vice had a different approach in mind. His secret weapon? Trust. In a world of high-tech security systems and impenetrable vaults, Vice realised that sometimes the easiest way to break in is to simply walk through the front door, and that's exactly what he did. Posing as a potential customer, Vice charmed his way into the bank's good graces. He wasn't alone though. An accomplice on the inside, someone the bank had entrusted with its secrets, was ready to play their part in this audacious scheme. On a seemingly ordinary day in July 1987, Vice put his plan into action. He strolled into the bank, cool as a cucumber, with no hint of the chaos he was about to unleash. The staff, recognizing him as a familiar face, had no reason to be suspicious. It was business as usual, until it wasn't. In a heart-stopping moment, Vichai pulled out a gun. The air in the bank suddenly grew thick with tension as the realization dawned on everyone present. This was a robbery. But Vichai wasn't interested in the teller's cash drawers. He had his sights set on a much bigger prize. With the staff held at gunpoint, Vichai's other gang members swarmed in. This is where the inside job really came into play. Security measures that should have been impenetrable, strobe lights, airlocks, remote monitoring, all fell like dominoes. The insider's knowledge was the key that unlocked every door, disabled every alarm, and led the criminals straight to their target: the safety deposit boxes. As they ransacked box after box, the true scale of the heist became apparent. Jewellery, cash, priceless heirlooms, all were stuffed into bags with ruthless efficiency. By the time they were done, Vichai and his gang had made off with valuables worth a staggering €65 million. The aftermath was a whirlwind of shock, disbelief, and frantic investigation. Detective Inspector Dick Leach was assigned to the case, tasked with unravelling this seemingly impossible crime. But Vichai had vanished into thin air, leaving behind a mystery that would take extensive investigations to solve. The Knightsbridge Security Deposit Robbery sent shockwaves through the banking world. It was a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest threat doesn't come from outside, but from within. The heist exposed the vulnerability of even the most sophisticated security systems when faced with the unpredictable element of human betrayal. As banks scrambled to fortify against insider threats, criminals in Belfast concocted a plan that would render all security measures useless. By targeting not the bank, but its employees' families, they stumbled upon a terrifying new frontier in heist strategy. How could any security system stand against the primal instinct to protect one's loved ones? On December 20th, 2004, Belfast became the stage for one of the most audacious and morally reprehensible heists in British history. The Northern Bank Robbery wasn't just about stealing money, it was about exploiting the deepest fears of ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances. The masterminds behind this €26.5 million theft weren't content with traditional methods. They knew that vaults could be reinforced, alarms could be upgraded, and security protocols could be tightened. But there was one vulnerability they could exploit that no amount of technology could protect against: the love of family. Their targets? Two senior bank executives, Chris Ward and Kevin McMullen. But unlike previous heists we've explored, these criminals didn't just threaten the bankers themselves. They went after their families, holding them hostage and creating a psychological pressure cooker that would force compliance with their demands. Imagine the terror of knowing your loved ones are in danger, their fate hanging on your every move. This wasn't just a robbery, it was an assault on the very fabric of trust and security that we all take for granted. The criminals had found a way to bypass every security measure by exploiting the most basic human instinct: the need to protect our own. As the hostages were kept at their homes, the bank executives were compelled to arrive at work the next day as if nothing was amiss. With the lives of their families hanging in the balance, they had no choice but to open the vault for the robbers after the bank had closed. It was a chilling demonstration of how far criminals would go to ensure cooperation. The aftermath of the Northern Bank Robbery sent shockwaves through the banking world and beyond. It raised serious questions about the safety of bank executives and their families, highlighting a vulnerability that no one had seriously considered before. How could banks protect not just their money, but the people responsible for safeguarding it? Adding another layer of intrigue to this already complex case was the suspected involvement of the Provisional Irish Republican Army, IRA. Police believed the heist was orchestrated by a gang with IRA connections, turning what might have been a simple robbery into a politically charged incident with far-reaching implications. The investigation that followed was as thorough as it was frustrating. Despite the scale of the crime and its shocking methods, no one has ever been charged in connection with the robbery. This lack of accountability has led to ongoing speculation about the involvement of organised crime and the true extent of the IRA's role in the heist. What made this robbery particularly disturbing was its exploitation of innocent family members. As one investigator noted, involving innocent family members in criminal activities not only raises moral questions, but also complicates the law enforcement response. The Northern Bank Robbery wasn't just a theft of money, it was a theft of security, peace of mind, and the belief that our loved ones are safe from the crimes we might face in our professional lives. It forced a re-evaluation of what it means to be secure, not just in banks, but in our own homes. While the Northern Bank Robbery shook our sense of security at home, another heist was about to redefine an entire city's landscape. In 1983, a group of thieves didn't just steal gold, they inadvertently set off a chain reaction that would transform London's skyline and criminal underworld. How could a single robbery alter the fate of one of the world's greatest cities? The answer lies in the Banco Robbery, a heist that would go down in history not just for its audacity, but for its far-reaching consequences. On November 26, 1983, a quiet Saturday morning at a high-security depot near Heathrow Airport was about to erupt into chaos. 6 armed men were about to pull off a crime that would net them a staggering £26 million in gold bullion, diamonds and cash. But this wasn't just a lucky break or a meticulously planned operation. Like many great heists, the Banco Robbery had an inside man. Anthony Black, a security guard at the depot, played a crucial role in the gang's success. His intimate knowledge of the facility's layout and security measures allowed the thieves to storm the depot with ease, catching the other guards completely off guard. The robbers had initially planned to steal about £3 million in cash. Imagine their surprise when they discovered 3 tons of gold bars, along with diamonds and cash, all totaling £26 million. It was a golden opportunity they couldn't pass up, even if it meant adapting their plans on the fly. As news of the heist spread, London's criminal underworld was turned upside down. The sheer scale of the theft sent shockwaves through the city's shadowy networks. Suddenly, there was a massive influx of stolen gold that needed to be laundered, and everyone wanted a piece of the action. But the most fascinating aspect of the Banco Robbery wasn't just its execution or even its immediate aftermath. It was the unexpected way it reshaped London itself. The stolen gold and diamonds didn't just disappear into thin air. They found their way into the city's booming property market, particularly in the Docklands area. As one expert noted, the robbery was not just a theft, it was a catalyst for a massive transformation in London's criminal economy, influencing everything from property values to organised crime. Criminals flush with cash from the heist began investing in real estate, contributing to a property boom that would change the face of London forever. The Docklands, once a neglected area of the city, suddenly became a hotbed of development. Sleek new buildings began to rise, funded in part by the proceeds of the Banco Robbery. It's a startling thought. Some of London's most recognisable landmarks might owe their existence, at least in part, to this audacious theft. But the impact wasn't just economic. The Banco Robbery also reshaped London's criminal landscape. The huge influx of wealth led to increased competition and violence among criminal gangs, all vying for a slice of the golden pie. The streets of London became more dangerous as rival factions clashed over the spoils. The aftermath of the heist stretched on for years, with police tirelessly pursuing leads and making arrests. But despite their efforts, a significant portion of the stolen gold was never recovered. It had been melted down, recast, and absorbed into the very fabric of the city. The Banco Robbery serves as a stark reminder of how a single event can have far-reaching and unexpected consequences. What started as a straightforward theft ended up influencing London's skyline, its property market, and its criminal underworld for decades to come. From London's skyline to Buenos Aires' storm drains, criminals continue to push the boundaries of audacity. In 2006, one gang didn't just rob a bank, they put on a show. What happens when thieves decide to make their crime a public performance? Welcome to Buenos Aires, Argentina, where on January 13, 2006, a group of robbers were about to turn a bank heist into a bizarre media spectacle. The Banco Rio branch in the affluent neighbourhood of Acasuso was the stage, and these criminals were ready for their close-up. As the robbery unfolded, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary heist. The gang took 23 hostages, but instead of the tense standoff one might expect, they created an atmosphere more akin to a theatrical production. Picture this: robbers calmly negotiating with police while simultaneously ordering pizza for their captives. It was a surreal scene that captivated the nation as it played out live on television. But why would professional criminals draw so much attention to themselves? The answer lies in the age-old art of misdirection. While all eyes were on the drama unfolding inside the bank, the real action was happening beneath the surface. Quite literally. Unbeknownst to the authorities and the media, these theatrical robbers had spent months planning and executing a daring escape route. They had painstakingly dug a tunnel from a nearby building, connecting it to the city's intricate network of storm drains. This underground passage would serve as their gateway to freedom, allowing them to vanish with their ill-gotten gains while the world watched the show they were putting on above ground. As the hours ticked by and the nation remained glued to their television sets, the robbers were busy emptying safe deposit boxes. Their haul? A staggering $20 million in cash and valuables. All the while, their dramatic performance continued, keeping everyone distracted from their true objective. The level of organisation and planning that went into this heist was remarkable. The robbers had detailed knowledge of the bank's layout and security measures, allowing them to move with precision and confidence. When the dust settled and the robbers had made their escape, law enforcement was left with more questions than answers. How had they pulled off such an elaborate scheme right under everyone's noses? The answer lay in their masterful manipulation of media attention and public perception. The Banco Rio Heist serves as a stark reminder of how criminals can exploit our media-driven society. In an age where every dramatic event becomes instant news, these robbers turned that phenomenon to their advantage. They created a spectacle so captivating that it became the perfect smokescreen for their true intentions. This incident forced security experts and law enforcement to reconsider their approach to high-profile crimes. It highlighted the need to look beyond the obvious and consider how media coverage might be manipulated to serve criminal ends. The line between reality and performance had been blurred, and the world of high-stakes robbery would never be quite the same. While some criminals rely on spectacle, others exploit the mundane. In 1997, a group of friends in Los Angeles turned an ordinary workday into an extraordinary heist. How did they manage to walk away with nearly $19 million without raising suspicion until it was too late? Welcome to the world of the Dunbar Armored Robbery, a crime that would make even the most seasoned Hollywood scriptwriters green with envy. On September 12, 1997, as most people were winding down for the weekend, Alan Pace III and his crew were gearing up for the score of a lifetime. Pace wasn't just any criminal mastermind. He was a former security guard for Dunbar Armored, the very company he was about to rob. This insider knowledge would prove to be the key that unlocked one of the largest cash heists in US history. Picture this: a group of friends gathered at a party, laughing, drinking, and to all appearances, having a normal Friday night. Little did anyone know that this seemingly innocent gathering was actually an ironclad alibi for what was about to unfold. As the night shift at Dunbar Armored went about their routine, Pace and his 5 accomplices put their meticulously crafted plan into action. Using keys obtained during his time as an employee, Pace led his crew into the heart of the Dunbar facility. Their timing was impeccable, coinciding with a period when security was at its most lax during large cash transfers. The crew moved with precision, ambushing the night shift guards in the cafeteria during their breaks. In a matter of minutes, they had neutralized any potential resistance without triggering a single alarm. It was as if they were ghosts, moving unseen through the facility they knew so well. With the path clear, the group began loading cash into a rented U-Haul truck. The speed and efficiency of their operation were staggering. In just 30 minutes, they had managed to spirit away an estimated $18.9 million in cash. By the time anyone realized what had happened, Pace and his crew were long gone, leaving behind a mystery that would baffle investigators for years. Following the heist, the group's real challenge began: how to launder such an enormous amount of cash without raising suspicion. They turned to property deals, attempting to slowly filter their ill-gotten gains into legitimate investments. For a while, it seemed like they might actually get away with it. But as with many great heists, it was a small mistake that would ultimately lead to their downfall. One of the crew members, Eugene Hill, made the fatal error of using cash still bound with the original Dunbar currency straps to make a purchase. This single slip-up would eventually unravel the entire operation. As investigators closed in, the true ingenuity of Pace's plan became clear. He had exploited every weakness in the Dunbar system, from security protocols to the predictable routines of his former colleagues. It was a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest threat to any organisation comes from those who know it best. The capture of Pace and his accomplices sent ripples throughout the security industry. How could a group of amateurs, led by a former employee, pull off such an audacious heist? The answer lay in the power of insider knowledge and the dangerous assumption that trusted employees would never betray their positions. While some thieves tunnel their way to riches, others walk right through the front door. But what happens when those doors belong to one of the world's most prestigious art museums? In 1990, 2 men pulled off a heist so brazen it left the art world reeling for decades. Picture this: a quiet night in Boston, March 18th, 1990. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum stands silent, its priceless collection of art slumbering behind locked doors and state-of-the-art security systems. But not for long. As the city sleeps, 2 men approach the museum. They're dressed as police officers, a disguise so simple yet so effective. With an air of authority, they buzz the intercom, claiming to be responding to a disturbance. The security guards, trained to cooperate with law enforcement, let them in without a second thought. It's a decision that would haunt them for years to come. Once inside, the officers quickly reveal their true intentions. They overpower the guards, handcuffing them in the basement. With the museum now at their mercy, they begin their audacious plan. For the next 81 minutes, these thieves have free reign over one of the world's most valuable art collections. They move through the galleries with a sense of purpose, selecting their targets with what seems like insider knowledge. Their haul, a staggering 13 pieces of art, including works by Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Manet. The value of their loot? Over $500 million. It's a figure that boggles the mind, representing not just monetary worth, but irreplaceable cultural heritage. Among the stolen pieces was Vermeer's The Concert, one of only 34 known works by the Dutch master. Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, his only known seascape, was also taken. As dawn breaks over Boston, the thieves vanish into the night, leaving behind empty frames and a mystery that would baffle investigators for decades. How could two men simply walk into a museum and walk out with $500 million in art? The audacity of the crime was matched only by its apparent simplicity. Investigations would reveal a series of security failures that made the heist possible. The guards weren't allowed to communicate with the outside world, a policy the thieves exploited to carry out their plan undetected. It was a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest threat to security comes not from sophisticated technology, but from human error and misplaced trust. As the years ticked by, the case remained frustratingly unsolved. Despite extensive investigations, numerous theories, and even a $10 million reward, the art has never been recovered. It's as if those 13 masterpieces simply vanished into thin air, taking with them a piece of our shared cultural heritage.